Today's topic, 5 of the best European SUVs for towing. Nathan Brown here with FCP Euro, and today we're going to change our speed up a little bit and talk about something a little different than what we've been covering so far. European SUVs, specifically European SUVs for towing. These European SUVs are a little bit practical, but still have a lot of appeal. Some would even say they have tons of appeal because they're all very heavy. Get it?
Oh no, can you believe it? What's Pakistan doing today in the field?
At any rate, it's really impressive to see what you can get with these cars. They're remarkably inexpensive compared to what they were new. So one of the key things to think about with any of these SUVs we're talking about is that there is a large amount of depreciation involved. So these are top of the line vehicles. These were super well appointed, super high end. Now they're not. They're used trucks and they've been traded in for the newest, hottest thing. And now we can scoop them up for a really good price. They're luxurious, some of them are ridiculously fast, and pretty much all of them can tow almost anything you want behind them. Because let's face it, you got stuff. Maybe you got stuff you need to put in a truck, maybe you got stuff you need to tow behind a truck, but you're not gonna be able to do it in a little hatchback or a sports car, and that's where the SUV comes into play. And since you like European trucks, you're gonna buy one of these SUVs versus a regular pickup truck. This also counts for any of the SUVs that we're gonna talk about today. 100% when you're looking at these on the used market, if you can find one with the towing package, buy one with the towing package. I can't state that enough. So you can add a towing package to any one of these trucks, but adding it after the fact is always going to be a little bit of a hassle. These are European cars after all. So you've got modules that need to be reprogrammed, you've got wiring that needs to be done, and it can be a little bit of a headache. So if you can find one with a towing package, get one with a towing package. We're going to start things off with something that's a little bit bread and butter, and that is the Mercedes ML350. Now, the 350 that we're talking about today is the W164. It was sold from 2006 to 2011. It was available in a variety of different engine and trim packages. From the ML350, there's a V8 version. There's also an awesome 3-liter CDI or BlueTEC diesel version, but they all feature the same exact towing capacity of 7,200 pounds. So the Mercedes truck, this is the second generation ML. It's pretty big, it's pretty luxurious, it's nice. It's not gonna set the world on fire in terms of like on-road performance or something like that, but it is a classic Mercedes through and through. Now, when you're looking at these things used, you're probably gonna find a lot of ML350s. They made a lot of those, and they're remarkably inexpensive. A lot of these trucks you're gonna find for maybe $10,000 to $15,000, which when you consider what the price was new, $50,000 or more. So you're saving a ton of money on what is a very, very fancy SUV. If I was gonna pick one of the MLs, I would probably go with a 3-liter CDI, the BlueTEC. That's gonna give you the most torque, a little over 400 foot-pounds, and it's definitely gonna be able to get you the most mileage in terms of miles per gallon and everything else. So our next pick, maybe you're like me. Maybe you're not into opera. Maybe you're not into going to the country club.
Listen, I got us a reservation for 7:30, but they said the valet was closed. Yeah, should we just cancel?
Maybe you're into something that's a little better on-road. You might like a BMW X5. So the X5 that we're talking about is the F15 chassis, which is pretty new. It was basically sold from 2014 to 2018. So this is going to be one of the most expensive trucks that we talk about today. The X5 has BMW's excellent xDrive all-wheel drive system, and like a lot of the other trucks, you have a few engine options. Engines on the X5 range from the classic BMW inline 6 to 3-liter turbo diesel to a 4.4-liter twin turbo V8. Now, amongst all those, the diesel is probably going to be the most economical one. The straight 6 is going to be the most reliable and cheapest one, but the 4.4-liter is going to be the most fun. It's got 479 pounds-feet of torque, which is a lot of torque, and it'll get this thing moving. Now, the twin turbo V8 is actually the most problematic engine of any of the ones that are featured in this X5, but you'll notice that any of these X5s that you see on the highway are probably flying past you at like 80, 100 miles an hour, going way faster than an SUV should go. That's you. If you're going 100 miles an hour down the turnpike blowing past everybody and loving every minute of it. The X5 has a little bit lighter towing capacity than the Mercedes does, only 6,000 pounds. That's not as much as the Mercedes, but it's still a pretty decent amount. It's enough to tow a fairly lightweight trailer with a race car. Price-wise, the inline six is going to be the least expensive. If you're going to go for that V8 twin turbo, you're probably going to pay around $38,000. It does seem like a lot, but like I said, this is one of the newest trucks around, so it's going to be low mileage. The technology is still going to be pretty recent. There's not really a whole lot of service that you're going to need to do. Next pick on our list, we have the one and only Porsche Cayenne, the truck that almost single-handedly saved Porsche from financial ruin and convinced pretty much every other major manufacturer that selling fast, outrageously expensive SUVs was an awesome business choice. Do we have Porsche to blame for the glut of SUVs that clog our nation's highways? Not really. There was a lot of SUVs that people made before the Cayenne, but Porsche was really one of the first manufacturers to put a pile of technology into these things, make it excellent off-road, excellent on-road, 500 horsepower, whatever you want, and then sell it to people for outrageous money. But that works out for us because now these things are lying around all over the place. They're not that expensive and they make for an awesome tow vehicle. For this pick specifically, I'm talking about the 957 Cayenne Turbo. That was sold from 2008 until 2010. It's got 4.8 liters of V8 twin turbo power, almost 500 horsepower, over 500 foot-pounds of torque, and it's able to accelerate a 5,000-pound truck to 60 miles an hour in something like 4.6 seconds. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's ridiculously fast. You're gonna probably pick one up for around $15,000, maybe $18,000 or $20,000. And compared to the $100,000 or $130,000 that these trucks were brand new, it's a hell of a deal. Porsche really went all out when they were designing and building this Cayenne. It's got a pretty stout transmission, it's got dual range, four-wheel drive, it has active torque management. A lot of them have active air suspension, some of them have active sway bars. They've got a ton of technology and a lot of sort of overbuilt structure to be an awesome tow vehicle, even though they go as fast as they do. There are a few things to watch out for, but in general, these trucks are very, very good. They're not really great at crossing rivers with 3 or 4 feet of water. You might encounter some problems there. It might ingest some water. Not everybody's gonna do that with the truck necessarily. So if you happen to be in Colorado and you're hanging out with some people and they're like, let's go drive these trucks through some rivers, you'll be like, yeah, let's do that.
Yo, Ben, what's going on, bro?
I hate my life.
If you do that, don't call me saying, hey man, worst thing ever happened, because I'm gonna think that you're joking. Then you're gonna tell me you're not joking, and then I have to call your wife. I'm gonna go have another beer. What else can I say about the Porsche Cayenne? Quite a lot, actually. In fact, we have a whole series of videos and articles about the 955 and 957 Porsche Cayenne. So if you're interested more specifically about this truck, definitely go check those videos out on our channel. Anything you wanna know, we got it. Our next pick is from our friends in Sweden, and I will be honest, I wasn't exactly sure why this made it on the list to start, because in my head, it wasn't a good tow vehicle. Like, I don't think of a Volvo SUV as being as capable as like a Porsche Cayenne. But the XC90 actually proves us a little bit wrong there. The XC90 was sold for quite a while, from 2003 until 2014, and it has a solid 5,000 pound towing capacity. It's pretty decent, but it is the lowest towing capacity on the list. So even with all that in mind, I wasn't really sold on the XC90. But then I started looking at the pricing, and it's kind of insane. You can pick up a V8 XC90 for well under $10,000. I mean, V8 SUV. Power! The earlier models had a turbocharged engine with a pretty clunky 4-speed GM transmission, so I'd probably avoid those if I'm honest. What I would do is go for the V8. It's still gonna be under 10 grand, but it has a 6-speed Aisin transmission, which is basically the same one as used in the Cayenne. It's kind of a rad combo. The interiors are well appointed, and they're a really classic example of Swedish Volvo design, which I personally really like. Being that it's a Volvo, of course, there's a strong emphasis on safety. It has side curtain airbags, it has a special anti-rollover system, And it was specially tested so that pedestrians would roll over the top of the truck rather than go underneath of it if you were to hit them. While that's a really nice feature, I would probably just generally recommend not mowing down people in crosswalks. Maybe leave that to the X5 owners. So at the end of the day, with the XC90, we have a really good price, we have a decent towing capacity, we have some really nice features, and what is arguably the most unique and interesting choice on our list. Last but not least, we have our final pick. It's a Disco, Land Rover Discovery LR4 to be exact. Did I say that the Cayenne was the original luxury SUV? I did actually say that, and I was totally lying. The Land Rover Discovery and the Range Rover before it are the true original OG luxury SUVs out of Europe. What's more interesting is they're insanely capable off-road, and when I think of a Land Rover, I think of a Discovery, I think of the Camel Trophy Challenge. To this day, the Land Rover Camel Trophy series remains one of the craziest and coolest automotive challenges of all time. So while there's plenty of Discoveries out there, we're focusing on the LR4. It was sold in the States from 2010 until 2016. Earlier models, up until 2013, have a V8 engine. Later models have a 3-liter supercharged V6. Between the two, I'm probably gonna pick the supercharged one. The main reason is actually for the ZF 8HP transmission. It's a fantastic automatic transmission, super reliable, works really well. But the other reason is that supercharged V6s sound really, really cool. And what sounds better when you're towing your race car than a supercharged V6 in front of you? The Disco is probably the only SUV on our list that can best the Cayenne in terms of absolute off-road prowess. They have a 2-speed transfer case, which is standard on the V8, optional on the V6, electronically controlled center differential, and a full-time 4-wheel drive system. The active center diff works with user-selectable terrain responses so you can optimize the performance of the truck depending on what you're doing. These settings include things like rock crawl or mud and ruts. The other thing that's notable to talk about with the Disco is that it has a real body-on-frame design. But more than that, it actually has a complete unibody design that's also mated to a ladder frame. It has the ride comfort and the strength of a unibody, and then has the towing strength and overall increased rigidity of the ladder frame. The downside of this is that it is pretty heavy, 5,600 pounds in fact, so it's certainly not going to be as spry in terms of performance as say the X5 will be, but it is going to be absolutely outstanding off-road and when you're towing. It does have an additional penalty in that neither the V6 or the V8 really get very good gas mileage, so it's a lot like the Cayenne in that regard. You're probably thinking a British SUV is not going to be the best choice when it comes to reliable performance. However, this is a modern one. They're actually pretty good in terms of overall reliability, but I will say this. These trucks all have an air suspension, and if you're like me, any of these trucks that you see on the road seem to be driving with at least one end down on the ground. That's not to say they're all going to be like that. So when you're looking for one used, you're probably going to want to look for one that has had service done, as in the airbag suspension has been replaced, or you may want to budget for having to do that in the near future. So there you have it. 5 European SUVs that can tow just as well as any American pickup truck and will get you there in more luxury and arguably more style. Me personally, it's a toss up between the Disco and the Cayenne. I think I'm gonna go Cayenne just because V8 twin turbo power is insane, but what about you? What's your favorite on this list? Which is your favorite that I didn't talk about? Go ahead, drop it in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, throw a like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.